Dear Chosen One, you thought it was love, but it was a spiritual distraction in disguise. You felt something strong, true, almost divine. The connection was intense, the words aligned, the signs seemed clear. But what you didn't see is that the enemy is also watching your journey, and when he realizes that he can't bring you down directly, he tries to divert your path with what you desire most. Love. Yes, Chosen One. There are people who didn't come to add. They came to paralyze. They were strategically planted to emotionally trap you and neutralize your spiritual progress. And while you call it a relationship, heaven calls it a delay operation. This kind of distraction is silent and subtle. It presents itself with sweet words, deep gazes, and even spiritual language. But soon after, you begin to notice. Your energy is lower, your prayer less intense, your focus fades. And still, you keep insisting, because your pure heart can't accept that someone so good could be a deception. But the enemy is a master of camouflage. And what seems like a soul connection can, in fact, be an emotional trap. And if you don't realize it in time, you'll waste years trying to save what was sent only to delay you. Today, you will understand how the enemy uses love as a tool to block destinies. You will learn to identify these bait relationships, understand the spiritual and emotional symptoms that reveal these distractions, and most importantly, how to free yourself from them with awareness and authority. But before we proceed, if you've ever felt that someone entered your life and drained your mission, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and activate the notifications. And write in the comments the number 444, declaring to the universe that you are breaking free from any emotional distraction that was not sent by God. The enemy knows he can't stop you head-on. You're too strong, too awake, too covered. So he changes tactics. Instead of confronting, he seduces. Instead of attacking, he distracts. And what better way to distract a pure heart than with someone who seems like the love of your life? The enemy plants people who fit your emotional needs, your old wounds, your deepest desires. They come with healing, but bring delay. They seem like a gift, but they are a test. They smile, but carry the code of stagnation. And you only realize this after you've already become too involved. These people arrive at just the right moment, or rather, at the vulnerable moment, when you're in spiritual transition, healing something, waiting for something. And then this connection appears, full of intensity, affinity, and emotion. But it's precisely here where the danger lies, because what the enemy desires most is to occupy the space that was meant for God with an emotional distraction that looks like love. And what seemed like a gift turns into a burden. The Chosen One starts delaying projects, disconnecting from their source, misaligning from their calling, all in the name of a relationship that is bearing no fruit, only fatigue. The problem is that the Chosen One has a noble heart. They believe in the transformation of others, in the possibility of mutual healing, in the power of love. And this is where they get trapped, because they start to confuse purpose with a rescue mission. They begin to want to save someone who was only sent to drain them. They start to confuse compassion with imprisonment. And so, the distraction gains ground. The Chosen One begins to let go of themselves to sustain the other. They begin justifying behaviors, accepting less than they deserve, sacrificing the spiritual in the name of the emotional. And this is not love. This is an energy kidnapping. True love accelerates destiny. It strengthens you, aligns you, brings you closer to God. But the distraction planted drains you, confuses you, and disconnects you. You begin to live for the other, trying to keep alive a connection that heaven has already told you to end. But the heart insists, because it looks like love. But if it were from God, it would bring peace. If it were from God, it would bring growth. If it were from God, it would push you forward, not keep you stuck in a cycle of pain and waiting. The enemy wants you to confuse intensity with purpose, but not everything that burns is a divine flame. Sometimes it's strange fire. Over time, the chosen one begins to notice the signs. The energy isn't the same. The motivation to pray, to create, to serve diminishes. An inexplicable irritation arises, a constant insecurity, a silent anguish. But still, they hesitate to leave, because the emotional connection has already become a spiritual attachment. And that's where the enemy wins, because the distraction doesn't need to seem bad. It just needs to seem necessary. And as long as you think you need it, you stay. You stay, even though you know you're losing yourself. You stay even while hearing God say, "Leave." And every day of staying costs a month of purpose. There are people who weren't sent to destroy you. They were sent to distract you. And this, in the spiritual world, is even more dangerous. Because what destroys you, teaches you, wakes you up. But what distracts you, anesthetizes you. You don't even notice you're walking in circles, that you're stagnated, that you're dimming your own light for the sake of a we that only exists if you are constantly diminished. The enemy doesn't want you to suffer. He wants you to settle. Because a settled chosen one is an harmless chosen one. And that is the plan. Neutralize your impact with a love that puts your soul to sleep. What heaven has for you requires lightness, clarity, and freedom. But as long as you're emotionally attached to someone who doesn't share your spiritual vision, you'll be fighting against the current. The enemy is strategic. He sends you someone who seems supportive, but is an anchor. And you only realize when you're already too deep. That's why discernment is a spiritual weapon. You need to learn to listen to the spirit before the heart. Because the heart alone can be deceived. But the spirit, when aligned with the high, never fails. And it has already warned you. Now it's up to you. You may be feeling the effects of this distraction right now. Maybe you're wondering why your plans have stopped, why your motivation has disappeared, why everything seems harder. The truth is that when you connect emotionally with someone who was sent to distract you, the energy of your destiny begins to fragment. Small concessions turn into big renunciations. You begin to trade your mission for moments of affection, your faith for empty promises, your intuition for sweet words. And the most dangerous part? Everything seems normal. But in the spiritual realm, your frequency is already compromised. Heaven doesn't take away what you insist on keeping. God gave you free will, and that includes the power to hold on to what delays you. But He also sends signals. And when you begin to have confusing dreams, pains that won't go away, feelings that disturb you, it's because something is out of alignment. This person you call love. Maybe they're a test, a mirror of what still needs to be healed in you. A reminder of how much your heart still needs to be guarded. The enemy takes advantage of your gaps, but God uses these distractions to show you where you still lack discernment. Many times, those who delay you don't even realize what they are doing. They are also lost, needy, seeking something they can't even name. But it's not your role to carry this soul on your back. You were called to guide, not to sink along with them. There's a difference between helping someone and drowning while trying to save them. And the chosen one needs to learn this difference, because the enemy takes advantage of your kindness. He knows you feel empathy, that you want to heal, transform, restore. And because of that, he sends broken people who will consume you and still call it love. The pain of letting go is less than the weight of delay. No matter how much it hurts, to let go, no matter how much you've invested, dreamed, believed, you need to accept this person was a distraction. It's not about guilt, it's about awareness. It's not about condemnation, it's about liberation. And liberation starts with a choice. Choose your mission over emotion. Choose purpose over attachment. Choose God over distraction. Because as long as you keep this person in your life, your spirit will remain divided. And a divided spirit doesn't manifest destiny. It survives. And you weren't called to survive. You were called to reign. The chosen one needs to understand that love that paralyzes does not come from heaven. Divine love propels, elevates, activates gifts, strengthens purpose. It doesn't demand that you diminish yourself, hide, or annul yourself. On the contrary, it celebrates your greatness, honors your mission, recognizes your light. But love, sent as a distraction, will always ask you to sacrifice your essence. It will always come with emotional arguments, promises of healing, fear of abandonment. But what comes from God never manipulates. It confirms, it expands, it breathes along with purpose. You need to break this bond in the spirit, cut the root of this emotional distraction. This is not done just with a physical goodbye. It's done with a spiritual decision. With fasting, with prayer, with decree. It's declaring to heaven and the invisible world, this connection no longer has power over me. And keep this decision even when the longing hits, even when the person tries to return, even when it seems like you're losing something, because you're not losing, you're recovering your clarity, your fire, your identity. You're recovering everything that was dormant because of this bond. If you keep holding on to someone who doesn't share your mission, you will lose the rhythm of heaven. You'll walk with someone who doesn't have the same speed. You'll live asking for permission to be who God called you to be. And that is dangerous. Because the enemy wants this. For you to walk slowly. For you to settle. For you to think. You can reconcile purpose and distraction, but you can't. The chosen one's calling demands totality, and totality requires cuts. You won't reach the new while carrying the weight of the old. God has already shown you. Now, it's your turn to choose. Chosen one, listen carefully. As long as you remain emotionally tied to someone God didn't send, you'll be spiritually bound. It doesn't matter if there are feelings. It doesn't matter if there's history. If there is no shared purpose, there is diversion. You need to learn to discern between a welcoming presence and a limiting presence, between support and delay, between love and attachment. Many say they love you, but they can't stand to see you grow, because your growth reveals their stagnation. And then they start creating conflicts, demands, jealousy, manipulations, everything to keep you small, accessible, and controllable. The enemy is crafty. He places these people with the appearance of love, but with a silent mission to neutralize you. They are relationships full of emotion and empty of direction. You feel everything, but you don't move forward. You keep spinning around the same story, wasting time, energy, and vision. And when you realize you've already lost yourself, You've stopped hearing God's voice. You've started rationalizing what the Spirit tried to warn you about. And this is a clear sign that you're involved with a strategic distraction. It's not about working out. It's about staying aligned with heaven. There's a peace that only comes after the cut. A clarity that only comes after the end. Because as long as the chosen one is divided between the love they feel and the purpose they carry, heaven will wait. God will not build on a ground where the enemy still has emotional dominion. Your heart needs to be clean. Your focus needs to be whole. Your soul needs to be light. And this only happens when you choose to let go. Let go of what doesn't add, what distracts you, what binds you, and trust that God knows what He's doing when He says, "This person is not for now." And maybe they never were. You don't need more proof. You've already seen the fruits. You've already felt the signs. You've already noticed the alerts. What's missing now is not revelation. It's courage. Courage to break free, to close the door, to stand firm, to say enough with determination. This emotional distraction has already completed its cycle. It's already taught what it needed to teach. And if you insist on keeping it active, it will no longer be proof. It will be disobedience. And disobedience has a price. Heaven will not deliver the new while you insist on holding on to the old. Not for punishment, but for protection. God only works with available vessels, and you are too busy with what should have already been left behind. You need to declare the freedom of your soul. You need to emotionally free yourself from this person whom the enemy used as a key to delay. Do this in prayer, in silence, in fasting, in firmness. Write, speak, expel. Remove from your life everything that pulls you out of center. Delete photos, block access, silence voices. This is not radicalism. It's spiritual survival. Because if you keep giving space to this distraction, you will keep paying with your peace. And your peace is the foundation of your authority. A chosen one without peace is a vulnerable chosen one. And the enemy knows this. Maybe you're afraid of being alone. Maybe this person fills voids, routines, needs. But remember, what binds you through fear never frees you through love. If this person were sent by God, you would be advancing, not spinning in circles. If it were purpose, there would be mutual growth, not stagnation disguised as intimacy. The enemy wants to convince you that something toxic is better than nothing. But heaven does not operate in scarcity. It operates in faith. And faith is trusting that when you let go of what delays you, God sends what aligns you. Emotional distraction is the most effective tool to prevent the advancement of a woke chosen one. Because it doesn't attack, it caresses. It doesn't hurt, it seduces. And that's why it's so hard to identify. But now you know. Now you're aware. And this awareness demands action. You can't go back to the deception you came out of. Your spirit has already been warned. Your destiny is already calling you, and you can no longer be delayed by something that only exists because you keep feeding it. It's time to cut, and cutting is liberating. From the moment you decide to break free from distraction, heaven begins to move in your favor. Doors that were locked begin to open. Directions that were unclear align. Your mind clears. Your strength returns. The energy that was being drained recovers. But this break must be complete, not just emotionally, but also spiritually and energetically. You need to seal your field with authority, re-establish boundaries, reaffirm your identity. Say, I am no longer accessible to what delays my mission, and maintain this decision every day until it becomes your shield. The enemy will try to confuse you. He will use memories, messages, nostalgia. He will try to make you feel guilty for leaving, for prioritizing yourself, for choosing God over distraction. But you must remain firm, because this moment is decisive. You are ending a cycle of emotional imprisonment. You are breaking an alliance that was stealing your clarity. You are telling heaven that you are ready for more. And every time you break with what distracts you, the spiritual world recognizes the chosen one has returned to the center. And when you return to the center, everything around you begins to align once again. You don't need to be cruel to be firm. You can release with love. You can pray for that person. You can bless their path. But you can no longer remain bound by pity, by an illusory hope, or by fear. Your mission is urgent. Your spirit can no longer endure this bond. You were made for more than carrying a burden disguised as partnership. You were made to soar, and you cannot soar with emotional chains. Choose heaven, even if it means the end of a story. God has something greater, but He only gives it when you show that you are ready to receive. And sometimes that means saying goodbye. Many chosen ones get lost because they confuse trial with prison. They think they are being tested, when in fact they are being drained. God doesn't call you to a relationship that distances you from Him. The love that comes from heaven brings you closer to the altar, reignites you spiritually, strengthens you in the mission. But distraction dims you, and you need to recognize this. What you feel is not love. It's attachment. And attachment is what the enemy uses to keep the chosen one away from purpose. He doesn't need to take away your faith. He just needs to give you a love that pulls you away from it. You need to break the habit of insisting on those who were not sent. Stop trying to save those who are not ready. Stop justifying what is already screaming no. Stop turning delay into purpose. This is emotional idolatry, and heaven doesn't operate where there's idolatry. You will only be free when you stop worshiping the idea of a love that is slowly killing you. The enemy wants to keep you in love with an illusion, but God wants to connect you with the real. And the real begins when you stop insisting on connections that are nothing more than spiritual noise. You don't have to carry anyone to your destiny. Everyone has their time, their path, their process. And if the person by your side is not willing to walk at the same frequency, then they were not made to walk with you. Not now, maybe never. But what matters is that you move forward, that you free yourself, that you recognize how much you have already lost trying to sustain something that was not sustained by heaven. What God joins flows. What the enemy joins blocks. And if it's blocking, it's a sign. And signs should not be ignored. They should be respected. You need to remember who you are. You are not a needy person searching for love. You are a sent one with a mission. You are not here to live emotional stories. You are here to fulfill an eternal calling. And anything that stands between you and that calling needs to go. Firmly, in faith, with decision. Because as long as you don't take your stand, the enemy will continue planting distractions, and you will keep delaying your purpose. But today, that can change. Today, you can recover your path. It all depends on you. You've come this far because something inside you already knew. This person was not sent by God. You felt the weight, noticed the delays, perceived the disconnection, and even so, you tried to hold on. You tried to justify, spiritualize, transform. But now, the truth is before you. What seemed like love was delay. What seemed like partnership was distraction. And what seemed like a promise was a trap. But now you have a choice. You can continue feeding this connection, or you can choose freedom and recover your path. And it starts with a simple act of courage: the cut. This cut is more than emotional. It's spiritual. It breaks invisible pacts, deactivates energetic accesses, closes portals opened by need and desire. When you decide to cut, you send a signal to heaven and the spiritual world. I am ready for what is truly mine. And at that moment, something begins to change. You feel lightness, clarity, peace. But you will also feel resistance. The enemy will try to reactivate the distraction, make it seem like you were wrong, that you are being too harsh. But don't believe it. This pain is just the resistance of liberation, and it will pass. What comes next is advancement. Many times, what holds us back isn't the other person. It's our illusion about the other person. And the enemy knows this. He plants images, hopes, false signs, and you start to create a love that never existed, sustained only by your expectation. But heaven doesn't move by expectation. It moves by truth. And the truth is, if this love were for you, it would bring you peace, not confusion. Clarity, not doubt. Expansion, not limitation. God doesn't give you something that takes you away from Him. And you need to believe this, even when your heart asks you to stay. The chosen one needs to learn to say no in faith. No to what delays. No to what drains. No to what diverts. And this no opens the doors for heaven's yes. A yes to aligned relationships. A yes to true partnerships. A yes to connections that push you toward purpose. But first, the field needs to be clean. And you are the one who needs to clean it. No one will do this for you. Because no one carries your mission. Only you. And if you don't position yourself, heaven will wait. Because destiny only manifests when the chosen one is ready to receive it. Do not be afraid of loneliness. Yes, it hurts, but it heals. It cuts away excess, reveals what was distorted, restores focus, brings back intimacy with the higher. And it is in this sacred solitude that you will be strengthened for the new. Because God's new doesn't come to contaminated fields. It comes when everything is clean, ordered, prepared. And you are already in this process. You just need to take the final step. Close the door that heaven never opened. And trust that God will surprise you with what is truly yours. And He will. You are strong. You are loved. You are chosen. And that's why the enemy tries so hard to distract you. Because he knows the power you carry when you are aligned with God. He knows the impact of your light, your voice, your presence, and he fears that. But today, you are breaking his plan. You are saying enough to distraction. You are saying yes to purpose. And this yes changes everything. It activates heaven in your favor. It restores your energy. It attracts what is rightfully yours. And, most importantly, it silences everything that kept you bound. Chosen one, comment now by writing, "I am free," as a declaration of your liberation. Tell the invisible world that you have broken free from all emotional distraction, all effective manipulation, all the enemy's traps. And share this video with someone who also needs to awaken. Because many are still bound to distractions that seem like love. And they only need one word to set them free. You can be that word. You can be that portal. If this video resonated with your heart, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the notification bell so you won't miss any new content, and continue to walk this amazing journey with others. I want to sincerely thank everyone who supports us on Buy Me a Coffee. Your support helps us improve our videos every day and always offer the best content. If you would like to support us too, the link is in the first pinned comment. If you want to dive even deeper into the secrets that make you so special, don't forget to check out the video shown on the screen or our Chosen Ones Secrets playlist. Each episode was created to guide you even deeper into your essence, revealing all the power and potential that reside within you. Thank you for staying with me until now. Until next time, and may God bless you.